Tristan Jarry essentially allowed 3 shots to beat him in the shootout. Coach Mike Sullivan was discouraged. The Pittsburgh Penguins didn't play their best hockey for about 50 of the 60 minutes in regulation. I am Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel, and that's just where we begin the analysis for the Tuesday night 4-3 shootout loss. Rescuing defeat from the jaws of victory did the Penguins. It was like their greatest hits. As the concert began to play, you didn't have to worry about hearing the new crap from the album that you don't care about. The Penguins brought their greatest hits on Tuesday. Unfortunately, the greatest hits for this season are not positives. The Penguins give up a goal on the first shot of the game. The 9th time they've done so this season. 6 times Tristan Jarry has been the goalie in net. Shockingly, that's not even a team record. Tom Barrasso did it 7 times in 96, 97. Matt Murray did it 6 times in 2018-19. The league record is Ilya Bryzgalov did it 12 times. I think it was 2012 when he did that, but that's neither here nor there. By the way, hat tip to Rob Rossi, who emailed the NHL during the game and shared all the information with us. The Penguins' inability to start cohesively. You know, listen, it was about a month ago, I think, when the Penguins gave up their 7th or 8th goal on a first shot of the game. I was the sacrificial lamb who asked Mike Sullivan, hey, what's the deal? And, you know, that was when he glared at me and sternly says, well, do you know? Do you have an answer? I mean, let's be honest. If you ask me that question 98 of 100 times, I probably do. I didn't say so that night, but it really is a matter of the Penguins not starting with intensity. Game after, even their good games, they ease into it. Almost as a matter of habit, they ease into the games. They don't start with the intensity or that energy that they often quickly acquire after the first several minutes. There is just, the motor doesn't flip, doesn't turn over like it used to with these Penguins. But there again, they overcame that. The Penguins tied the game and even took a 3-1 lead with 8 minutes to go in the hockey game. They have a 3-1 lead, and they find a way to blow it. Tristan Jarry, kind of a bad handle behind the net. He said it was a bad bounce. He kind of hit Grzelcyk, or the forechecker, in the shoulder. I haven't seen the close-up replays that some of you probably saw on television to really know what happened. I can only tell you what happened here in the arena, and it was just a bad handle shooting it into a couple of bodies. I don't necessarily know why the Penguins forwards and the other defensemen weren't coming down to help out. I can't say they left Jarry on an island because it happened a little bit quickly. It was just a mess of a play. How's that? You can't say, well, this player made a mistake or that player made a mistake. It was basically 3 or 5 players made a mistake. The penalty kill was not good on Tuesday. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds. I'd have to show you stills and have to really start to diagram things. Those videos take hours, and perhaps I will do something like that over the next couple of days when I have the hours to put into it for you. Notice what's happening on the penalty kill. There are seams. Teams are attacking the Penguins' penalty kill in a bit of a different way. It's not that the Penguins' PK, you know, I tend to cringe a lot of times when you ask players or coaches a bit about the technical side of the game and they tell you, well, we weren't on our toes. As if that is the deciding factor of all hockey games. As if coaches have, and players have no tactical accountability or responsibility. Well, they played better because they were more emotional or more on their toes. And it just, that stuff begins to ring a little hollow with me a lot of times. The Penguins' PK had big seams over the last couple of games. Detroit exploited them. Certainly Columbus very much exploited them on Tuesday. Getting guys open near the net, getting guys open in the slot, with speed coming laterally through. I would assume, listen, these are the ebbs and flows of a season. It just so happens that it's happening kind of all at once to the Penguins on the penalty kill. I suspect they'll fix it. They've got enough good penalty killers on the roster, and David Quinn or rather Mike Vellucci has proven to be a pretty good coach with his tactical adjustments over the last several years. Of all of the failures of the Penguins in the last few years, penalty killing has not typically been one of those that has been a nagging injury, so to speak. Otherwise, the Penguins, I thought, played a pretty terrible game on Tuesday. They were lifeless in the first period. I can't blame the fans. Listen, I tweeted out something. If the Penguins, were any more lifeless, there'd be a pale guy in the parking lot driving a hearse, putting flags on cars. They were terrible. And it wasn't that they were out of sorts or chasing the game. They really weren't in the game. They were just kind of the perfunctory, going through the motions. They had 3 shots on goal. That was brutal. They picked it up a little bit in the second period. It still wasn't anything close to their best. You saw their best in the first 10 minutes of the third period. Why it took that long, I can't say that Columbus was overly physical. I can't say that Columbus was clogging the neutral zone or packing the defensive zone in order to discourage the Penguins. It was literally 2 teams playing their C game. And yet the Penguins still had a great chance to win and absolutely should have won. Ricard Raquel said it stinks to come back, to fight back, and to lose like that. I would say the Penguins got what they deserved. They should have put Columbus away. They should have done a lot of things differently. They should have started stronger. They should have gotten to the net more. They should have finished a couple of their chances in overtime. They didn't. The season is very quickly turning, and I wrote about this in the report card. I'm going to briefly mention it here. The team is rapidly regressing since the holiday break. It's like they rebooted and used the Mac time machine to go back to the beginning of the season, giving up first shot goals, not finishing their chances, lethargic play. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? So that is it. The Penguins are 1, 2, and 3 in the 6 games since the holiday freeze broke. They're still in the playoff hunt because of these loser points. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing right now. I suppose I'm going to digest it over the next several days. I tend to think this team actually has a much higher ceiling, and that this is some sort of mental reboot and reset that this team seemingly has to go through. But I'm not firm on any of those opinions. They are better than what they've showed, but you also look at their middle 6. With Evgeny Malkin's surprise injury, by the way, very odd, Mike Sullivan had nothing to offer post-game. Not even really an update. He said, I don't know when it happened. I have nothing to add other than what the team put out. I don't ever recall him giving an answer like that, quite frankly. And usually when Sullivan punts an answer without taking ownership or accountability, it's because he's out of the loop on it or doesn't know. Take it for what you will. That sort of answer happened a lot in the later Ron Hextall era when Sullivan was out of the loop. This was a little bit weird. Malkin no showing for the warm-up, obviously, upper body injury. But without Malkin in the top six, and Malkin hasn't been resplendent this season either. He's been playing very good defensively, playing straight ahead, but not the big Evgeny Malkin game. So if you take Evgeny Malkin out, look at the Penguins' middle six. Cody Glass. I mean, Michael Bunting is probably the difference maker of the entire group. Cody Glass, Anthony Beauvillier on the second line. That's a rebuilding team, friends. Third line, Kevin Hayes at center. Drew O'Connor had 2 goals on New Year's Eve, but is right back to 5 straight goals or games without a goal. Who was on the right wing? Jesse Puljujärvi. I don't want to puncture the Puljujärvi fan base's balloon. Boy, there were a couple shifts when I thought Mike Sullivan might just nail him to the bench. One really should have been a high-danger Columbus chance. They got a 3-on-2 off of... I can't even describe quite what Puljujärvi did. I don't want to say he was out of position, but he stopped the puck at center ice and dumped it in. 6 minutes into the second period. And then, as the F3, because he's the guy dumping it in behind the other two, he kind of charges in on the forecheck. Okay, Kevin Hayes drops back to protect him. So far, so good. And then Puljujärvi kind of loops all the way around towards the Penguins bench and glides past it. Doesn't really come past the red line, and his man is now open in the slot while Puljujärvi is 50 feet away. It's like, those are the things that, certainly drive a coach nuts. Kevin Hayes, I thought, had a decent enough game. The third line had some chances once again. I don't know that they're too bad. I expect them to maintain that level, which kind of bakes the cake of the middle six. If winning this season were important, I think we'd all be clamoring, and Kyle Dubas would be on the phones trying to solidify and add to that group rather than it atrophying. Where they go from here probably depends on 2 factors. Boy, I'm filling a lot of time tonight. I didn't think I had a lot to say. Apparently I was wrong. We should do a live chat. Maybe I haven't worn myself out with one of those in a while. Goaltending has to be better. Jari was soft on Tuesday. And the middle six has to do its part more so. Raquel, Crosby, and Rust, exemplary, fantastic, ridiculously good. But they cannot be made to score 4 goals every night. They chipped in a couple. That should be enough for the rest of the team to find 1 or 2, and they really didn't. So, there's your breakdown. Your 5-minute breakdown extended to 13 minutes. All right, so that's it for me from PPG. We've got practice on Wednesday. The Edmonton Oilers on Thursday. Man, Edmonton has had their number. The Penguins seem to want to drop into this. Let's skate with. Let's show Edmonton what the old guys still have, and it hasn't worked out very well for them whatsoever. We'll see how that goes on Thursday. I would suspect that Alex Nedeljkovic will be in goal. Mike Sullivan wasn't very complimentary. Didn't rip him, but wasn't complimentary either of Tristan Jarry on Tuesday. So that is it from PPG. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, share this out, criticize, do what you must. I'm here and I read it all. All right, kids, have fun. I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel.